Hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily Dose of English. I'm Tom, and I'm really happy you're here with me today. You know, I was thinking about you all this morning while I was having my coffee. I was wondering, what do you like to do when you're not studying English? What makes you happy? What do you do for fun? Well, today we're going to learn exactly how to talk about that in English. In this episode, we're going to learn how to talk about hobbies and free time activities. This is such an important topic because when you meet new people, they often ask, "What do you like to do?" or "What are your hobbies?" By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to answer these questions naturally and confidently. You'll also learn how to ask others about their interests and have real conversations about the things you love. We're going to learn lots of useful vocabulary, practice with shadowing exercises, and I'll tell you some stories about different hobbies. Remember, shadowing means you listen to me say something and then you repeat it. This helps you speak more naturally and improve your pronunciation. So get ready to use your voice. Before we start, let me tell you something important. Everyone has different hobbies, and that's what makes life interesting. Maybe you love sports, or maybe you prefer reading books. Maybe you enjoy cooking, or perhaps you like playing video games. There's no right or wrong hobby. The important thing is that you enjoy it and it makes you happy. Let's start with a warm-up. I'll say some simple sentences about hobbies and you can repeat after me. Ready? Here we go. I have many hobbies. This means I like to do many different things in my free time. I have many hobbies. I have many hobbies. Now you repeat. I enjoy reading books. This means I like to read books. It makes me happy. I enjoy reading books. I enjoy reading books. Now you repeat. My favourite hobby is painting. This means painting is the hobby I like the most. My favourite hobby is painting. My favourite hobby is painting. Now you repeat. Great job. See, you're already talking about hobbies. Now let me ask you a question. Do you know the difference between hobby and interest? They're similar, but not exactly the same. A hobby is something you actually do regularly, like playing guitar or gardening. An interest is something you like or care about, but maybe you don't actively do it, like being interested in space or ancient history. Both are great conversation topics. Today we'll cover three main areas. First, we'll learn essential vocabulary for talking about different hobbies. Second, we'll practice useful phrases and questions for discussing free time activities. And third, we'll put it all together in real conversations. Are you excited? I am. Let's begin our journey into the wonderful world of hobbies and free time. All right, let's start with some essential vocabulary. I'll teach you different categories of hobbies, and we'll practice each one with shadowing. Remember, after I say each phrase, I'll explain it, then repeat it twice, and then you repeat. Ready? Let's begin with hobbies we do inside the house. I like to read novels in my spare time. This means when I have free time, I enjoy reading storybooks. I like to read novels in my spare time. I like to read novels in my spare time. Now you repeat. Cooking is my passion. This means I really love cooking. It's very important to me. Cooking is my passion. Cooking is my passion. Now you repeat. I'm learning to play the piano. This means I'm taking piano lessons or teaching myself piano. I'm learning to play the piano. I'm learning to play the piano. Now you repeat. I enjoy watching documentaries. This means I like to watch educational TV shows or films. I enjoy watching documentaries. I enjoy watching documentaries. Now you repeat. Video games help me relax. This means playing games on my computer or console makes me feel calm. Video games help me relax. Video games help me relax. Now you repeat. Now let's talk about things we do outside. I go hiking every weekend. This means I walk in nature or mountains each Saturday and Sunday. I go hiking every weekend. I go hiking every weekend. Now you repeat. Swimming keeps me fit. This means swimming helps my body stay healthy and strong. Swimming keeps me fit. Swimming keeps me fit. Now you repeat. I love cycling through the park. This means I enjoy riding my bicycle in the park. I love cycling through the park. I love cycling through the park. Now you repeat. Gardening is very peaceful. This means taking care of plants makes me feel calm and happy. Gardening is very peaceful. Gardening is very peaceful. Now you repeat. I play soccer with my friends. This means my friends and I play football together. We call it soccer in American English. I play soccer with my friends. I play soccer with my friends. Now you repeat. Let's learn about artistic and creative activities. Photography is my newest hobby. This means I recently started taking photos as a hobby. Photography is my newest hobby. Photography is my newest hobby. Now you repeat. I write poetry in my journal. This means I create poems and write them in my personal notebook. I write poetry in my journal. I write poetry in my journal. Now you repeat. Drawing helps me express myself. This means when I draw, I can show my feelings and ideas. Drawing helps me express myself. Drawing helps me express myself. Now you repeat. I've been learning origami. This means I'm studying the Japanese art of paper folding. Let's break this into two parts. First, I've been learning. Now you repeat. Now, origami. Origami. Now you repeat. Together, I've been learning origami. I've been learning origami. Now you repeat. These are hobbies we do with other people. I'm in a book club. This means I'm part of a group that reads and discusses books together. I'm in a book club. I'm in a book club. Now you repeat. We play board games every Friday. This means each Friday we play games like Monopoly or chess. We play board games every Friday. We play board games every Friday. Now you repeat. I volunteer at the animal shelter. This means I help at a place that takes care of homeless animals, and I don't get paid. I volunteer at the animal shelter. I volunteer at the animal shelter. Now you repeat. Now let's learn some important phrases for talking about hobbies. How often do you practice? This asks about frequency. How many times you do something. How often do you practice? How often do you practice? Now you repeat. I've been doing this for 5 years. This means I started this hobby 5 years ago and still do it. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've been doing this for 5 years. Now you repeat, it's expensive but worth it. This means it costs a lot of money, but I'm happy to pay because I enjoy it. It's expensive but worth it. It's expensive but worth it. Now you repeat, I'm not very good yet, but I'm improving. This means my skill level isn't high now, but I'm getting better. Let's practice in 2 parts. First, I'm not very good yet. I'm not very good yet. Now you repeat. Second, but I'm improving. But I'm improving. Now you repeat. Together, I'm not very good yet, but I'm improving. I'm not very good yet, but I'm improving. Now you repeat. Now let's practice asking and answering questions about hobbies. This is super important for real conversations. What do you do for fun? This is a casual way to ask about someone's hobbies. What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun? Now you repeat. Do you have any hobbies? This directly asks if someone has hobbies. Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any hobbies? Now you repeat. What do you like to do in your free time? This asks about activities when you're not working or studying. What do you like to do in your free time? What do you like to do in your free time? Now you repeat. How did you get into that? This asks how someone started their hobby. How did you get into that? How did you get into that? Now you repeat. Now let's practice some complete answers. These are longer, so we'll break them down. Well, I have a few hobbies, but my favourite is probably photography. Let's practice in parts. First, well, I have a few hobbies. Well, I have a few hobbies. Now you repeat. Second, but my favourite is probably photography. But my favourite is probably photography. Now you repeat. Together, well, I have a few hobbies, but my favourite is probably photography. Well, I have a few hobbies, but my favourite is probably photography. Now you repeat. I started playing guitar when I was 15, so it's been about 10 years now. Let's break this down. First, I started playing guitar when I was 15. I started playing guitar when I was 15. Now you repeat. Second, so it's been about 10 years now. So it's been about 10 years now. Now you repeat. Together, I started playing guitar when I was 15, so it's been about 10 years now. Now you repeat. I try to practice at least 3 times a week, usually in the evenings. Parts. I try to practice at least 3 times a week. I try to practice at least 3 times a week. Now you repeat. Usually in the evenings. Usually in the evenings. Now you repeat. Complete. I try to practice at least 3 times a week, usually in the evenings. Now you repeat. When someone tells you about their hobby, you need to show you're interested. That sounds really interesting. This shows you think their hobby is cool. That sounds really interesting. That sounds really interesting. Now you repeat. How long have you been doing that? This asks about the duration of their hobby. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing that? Now you repeat. Is it difficult to learn? This asks if the hobby is hard for beginners. Is it difficult to learn? Is it difficult to learn? Now you repeat. Where do you usually do that? This asks about the location of the activity. Where do you usually do that? Where do you usually do that? Now you repeat, I've always wanted to try that. This means you're interested in starting the same hobby. I've always wanted to try that. I've always wanted to try that. Now you repeat. Sometimes hobbies can be challenging. Here's how to talk about that. The hardest part is finding time to practice. This means the biggest difficulty is having enough time. The hardest part is finding time to practice. The hardest part is finding time to practice. Now you repeat. It was frustrating at first, but now I love it. This means it was difficult and annoying in the beginning, but now it's enjoyable. Let's practice in parts. It was frustrating at first. It was frustrating at first. Now you repeat. But now I love it. But now I love it. Now you repeat. Together, it was frustrating at first, but now I love it. Now you repeat. Equipment can be really expensive. This means the things you need for the hobby cost a lot of money. Equipment can be really expensive. Equipment can be really expensive. Now you repeat. Now let's put everything together with some real conversations about hobbies. I'll tell you 2 stories with dialogue and we'll practice together. Story 1. At a coffee shop. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you meet someone new. Let's listen to their conversation about hobbies. Sarah. Hi, I'm Sarah. I see you here every Saturday with your laptop. Are you working? Mike. Oh, hi. I'm Mike. Actually, no, I'm editing photos. Photography is my hobby. Let's practice Mike's response. Actually, no, I'm editing photos. Actually, no, I'm editing photos. Now you repeat. Photography is my hobby. Photography is my hobby. Now you repeat. Sarah. That's so cool. What kind of photos do you take? Mike. Mostly nature and landscapes. I go hiking and bring my camera. Practice. Mostly nature and landscapes. Mostly nature and landscapes. Now you repeat. I go hiking and bring my camera. I go hiking and bring my camera. Now you repeat. Sarah. How long have you been doing photography? Mike. About 3 years now. I started during the pandemic when I had more free time. Practice this response in parts. About 3 years now. About 3 years now. Now you repeat. I started during the pandemic. I started during the pandemic. Now you repeat. When I had more free time. When I had more free time. Now you repeat. Sarah. Was it hard to learn? Mike. At first, yes. There's so much to learn about cameras and editing, but YouTube tutorials really helped. Let's practice. At first, yes. At first, yes. Now you repeat. There's so much to learn about cameras and editing. There's so much to learn about cameras and editing. Now you repeat. But YouTube tutorials really helped. But YouTube tutorials really helped. Now you repeat. Sarah. I've always wanted to learn photography. Any tips for beginners? Mike. Start with your phone camera. You don't need expensive equipment right away. Practice. Start with your phone camera. Start with your phone camera. Now you repeat. You don't need expensive equipment right away. You don't need expensive equipment right away. Now you repeat. Story 2. Meeting a new colleague. Now imagine you're at work and talking to a new colleague during lunch break. Tom, so what do you like to do outside of work? Anna, well, I'm really into yoga and meditation. It helps me manage stress. Practice Anna's response. Well, I'm really into yoga and meditation. Well, I'm really into yoga and meditation. Now you repeat. It helps me manage stress. It helps me manage stress. Now you repeat. Tom, that's great. How often do you practice? Anna, I try to do yoga every morning for about 30 minutes and I meditate before bed. Let's break this down. I try to do yoga every morning. I try to do yoga every morning. Now you repeat. For about 30 minutes. For about 30 minutes. Now you repeat. And I meditate before bed. And I meditate before bed. Now you repeat. Tom, wow, that's dedication. Do you go to a studio or practice at home? Anna, both actually. I go to a studio twice a week for classes, but I practice at home the other days. Practice. Both actually. Both actually. Now you repeat. I go to a studio twice a week for classes. I go to a studio twice a week for classes. Now you repeat. But I practice at home the other days. But I practice at home the other days. Now you repeat. Tom, I've been thinking about trying yoga. Is it suitable for beginners? Anna, absolutely. There are classes specifically for beginners. The instructors are very patient. Practice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you repeat. There are classes specifically for beginners. There are classes specifically for beginners. Now you repeat. The instructors are very patient. The instructors are very patient. Now you repeat. You know, different cultures have different popular hobbies. In Japan, many people enjoy origami and calligraphy. In Brazil, dancing and playing music are very common. In the UK, gardening is extremely popular. They even have TV shows about it. What are the popular hobbies in your country? It's interesting how hobbies can tell us about different cultures. Let's practice a few more quick exchanges. Person A. Do you have any unusual hobbies? Person B. Well, I collect vintage postcards from around the world. Practice. Well, I collect vintage postcards from around the world. Well, I collect vintage postcards from around the world. Now you repeat. Person A. That's unique. How many do you have? Person B. Over 500 now. Each one tells a story. Practice. Over 500 now. Over 500 now. Now you repeat. Each one tells a story. Each one tells a story. Now you repeat. Here's another one. Person A. I heard you're learning a new language. Person B. Yes, I'm studying Spanish. It's challenging but really rewarding. Practice. Yes, I'm studying Spanish. Yes, I'm studying Spanish. Now you repeat. It's challenging but really rewarding. It's challenging but really rewarding. Now you repeat. Now let's level up. I'll teach you some more advanced ways to talk about hobbies. When you really love your hobby, here's how to show it. I'm absolutely passionate about cooking. This shows very strong positive feelings. I'm absolutely passionate about cooking. I'm absolutely passionate about cooking. Now you repeat. I could talk about books for hours. This means you love books so much you never get tired of discussing them. I could talk about books for hours. I could talk about books for hours. Now you repeat. Gaming is my escape from daily stress. This means playing games helps you forget your worries. Gaming is my escape from daily stress. Gaming is my escape from daily stress. Now you repeat. I live for the weekends when I can go rock climbing. This means weekends are special because of your hobby. Let's practice in parts. I live for the weekends. I live for the weekends. Now you repeat. When I can go rock climbing. When I can go rock climbing. Now you repeat. Together, I live for the weekends when I can go rock climbing. Now you repeat. Here's how to discuss your improvement. I've come a long way since I started. This means you've improved a lot. I've come a long way since I started. I've come a long way since I started. Now you repeat. My skills have really developed over time. This means you've gotten much better gradually. My skills have really developed over time. My skills have really developed over time. Now you repeat. I'm nowhere near professional level, but I'm proud of my progress. This means you're not an expert, but you're happy with your improvement. Let's break it down. I'm nowhere near professional level. I'm nowhere near professional level. Now you repeat. But I'm proud of my progress. But I'm proud of my progress. Now you repeat. My goal is to run a marathon next year. This states your future hobby objective. My goal is to run a marathon next year. My goal is to run a marathon next year. Now you repeat. I'd love to display my art in a gallery someday. This expresses a dream related to your hobby. I'd love to display my art in a gallery someday. I'd love to display my art in a gallery someday. Now you repeat. Eventually, I want to teach others what I've learned. This means in the future, you want to share your hobby knowledge. Eventually, I want to teach others what I've learned. Eventually, I want to teach others what I've learned. Now you repeat. Let me share some common mistakes learners make when talking about hobbies. Don't say, I'm interested in music. Say, I'm interested in music. Practice. I'm interested in music. I'm interested in music. Now you repeat. Don't say, I like do yoga. Say, I like doing yoga, or I like to do yoga. Practice, I like doing yoga. I like doing yoga. Now you repeat. Don't say, my hobby is watch movies. Say, my hobby is watching movies. Practice, my hobby is watching movies. My hobby is watching movies. Now you repeat. Now you be person A, and I'll be person B. After I speak, you respond using what we've learned. Me. Hey. What do you do for fun? You answer about your real hobby. pause, and think. Me. That sounds interesting. How long have you been doing that? You respond with how long. Me. Is it an expensive hobby? You answer yes or no and explain. Great job. Even if you made mistakes, you're practicing, and that's what matters. Fun expressions about hobbies. Here are some fun, natural expressions native speakers use. I'm a bit of a bookworm. This means you love reading a lot. I'm a bit of a bookworm. I'm a bit of a bookworm. Now you repeat, I'm addicted to podcasts. This jokingly means you listen to podcasts all the time. I'm addicted to podcasts. I'm addicted to podcasts. Now you repeat, cooking is my thing. This casually means cooking is what you're good at or enjoy. Cooking is my thing. Cooking is my thing. Now you repeat, I'm a gym rat. This means you go to the gym very often. I'm a gym rat. I'm a gym rat. Now you repeat, wow, we've learned so much today. Let's quickly review what we covered. We learned vocabulary for different types of hobbies. Indoor activities like reading and cooking, outdoor activities like hiking and swimming, creative hobbies like photography and writing, and social hobbies like book clubs and volunteering. We practiced essential questions like what do you do for fun and how long have you been doing that? We also learned how to give detailed, interesting answers about our hobbies. We explored real conversations and practiced shadowing with 2 complete dialogues. Remember, the more you practice these conversations, the more natural they'll become. We also learned how to express enthusiasm about our hobbies, talk about our progress, and share our goals. These advanced phrases will make your English sound more fluent and natural. Here's your homework. Yes, fun homework. This week, I want you to choose 3 hobbies you enjoy and practice describing them using the phrases we learned. Ask someone in English about their hobbies. It could be online, a language partner, or even practicing with yourself in the mirror. Watch one YouTube video in English about a hobby you're interested in. Remember, everyone started as a beginner. Whether it's English or any hobby, the key is consistent practice and enjoying the journey. Don't worry about being perfect. Worry about making progress. You know what? Learning English is also a hobby, and you're doing it right now. You should be proud of yourself for dedicating time to improve. Every episode you listen to, every word you repeat, every sentence you practice, it all adds up to real progress. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe to Daily Dose of English. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Next time, we'll learn how to talk about travel and vacation plans. It's going to be exciting. Also, leave a comment telling me about your favourite hobby. Write it in English. Even a simple sentence is great practice. I read every comment and I love hearing from you. Before you go, let's practice one more important phrase. Thanks for learning with me today. Thanks for learning with me today. Thanks for learning with me today. Now you repeat. This is Tom from Daily Dose of English saying keep practicing, keep improving, and keep enjoying your hobbies. especially the hobby of learning English. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.